As you can guess, that keeps me kind of busy, and I don't know where the podcast is going to be able to fit in all of that. I hope to come out with one, at least once a month, but at this point, they will just be coming out when I have time to put them out. And I hope everybody can understand that. It's been a busy time, and the next one, show 41, will be the 2-year anniversary show of Thelema Coast to Coast. So if anybody has anything they want to say regarding Thelema Coast to Coast and its 2-year anniversary, get that in the mail, email, or through the website or whatnot. Get that to me so I can read it on that show. As I mentioned before, I have started a Thelemic announcement e-list called Huriliu. You can get to that by going to www.thelema.nu/Huriliu. That's H-R-I-L-I-U. And you can sign up for that. It does not go out that often. You will not be getting a lot of spam. In fact, the list is not going to be shared with anybody. I'm the only one who has access to it. And right now, only one email has ever been sent to it, and it was in mid-February. So as you can see, there's not a lot of traffic on it. But I do send out a lot of good information, and I have another one that will be going out in a week or less, so you might want to go and sign up for that. I send that out. All right. The next thing I want to play for you is some samples from some songs that were done by the Russian OTO. I announced this in the last Huriliu with a link, but the songs are just so interesting that I wanted to make the Thelema Coast to Coast listeners. The Russian OTO translated the Invocation of Pan, the Creed of Liber 15 of the Gnostic Mass, and the Anthem of the Gnostic Mass, and One Star in Sight, and set them to music. So they have released a version of all of those in both English and in Russian. Each one is done in a very different musical style. And so I really like the Invocation of Pan, and in fact, that is what I'm going to be playing at the end of the podcast. But I want to play a small segment right now of each of the 4 songs. It's about 30 seconds for each segment, and just so everybody can hear it, I'll have a link to their website in the show notes where people can go and download the full versions of each song. I just think it's pretty cool that they're out there doing this kind of work. So here are the segments, and again, the order is the Invocation of Pan, the Creed of Liber 15, the Anthem of Liber 15, and then One Star in Sight.
Freely song, last of the light. Come carrying out of the night of I believe in one secret tale, in a fable Lord, and in one star in the company of stars, of whose fire we are created, and to which we shall return. And in one Father of life, mystery of mystery, in his name. Glory to thee, from till the top. Glory to thee, from age to home. Glory to thee, from earth apart. Glory to thee, from virgin birth. 5 feet in mire, thine head in murk. Oh man, how piteous thy plight! The dust, the dawn, the hills, the turn, the to fight.
I hope everybody liked that. It definitely is a very different sound, and I appreciate the creativity of the Russian OTL Thelemites. Going on to the next thing is I just want to remind everybody of my blog, because there is significant breaks between the podcasts. I do update my blog a little more often, maybe once or twice a week, with my thoughts either on kind of the state of Thelema or various things, or some personal updates on where I'm at and what I'm doing and so forth. So if people want to check that out, it's easy to get to, www.thelema.new or thelema.com or thelema.info or thelema.biz or, yeah. So any of those will take you to my blog. So anyway, thelema.nu. All right. In the last podcast, I had Lon Duquette on, and we were doing a giveaway for a copy of his Accidental Christ. That was given away. Anthony in Eagan, Minnesota, won that. So congratulations, Anthony. Now that we're a little over 20 minutes into the podcast, or actually almost 30 minutes into the podcast, we're now going to be starting the interviews. The first one is with Monica Rocha. She's a member of the Hermetic Order of Rahur Kuit, and recently she, working with the Hermetic Order of Rahur Kuit, published an English translation of Motta's Astral Attack and Defense. And I was really interested and excited to see that this had come out. This is the first English translation that I know of this work by Motta, and it's got a lot of fascinating things in there. It also has a commentary by Ray Ailes. And so I wanted to talk to Monica and just kind of find out why the book was put out and get some background on it. And so she was nice enough to come on the show. So I have an interview with her. Then I have an interview with Keith 418 regarding the Crowley books. We talk a bit about what Brendan asked. And then lastly, I have an interview with Alfred Vitale, and we discuss a paper that he gave at a conference during the last summer regarding the modern use of media as magical tools, and in particular he concentrated looking at like Kenneth Anger and Grant Morrison and so forth. But we have a very interesting conversation about that and a lot of other things that are involved in that subject. So here is the interview with Monica, and then from there will be Keith and then Alfred. We have on the phone with us Monica Rocha. Welcome to the podcast, 93.
93.
Now, you worked with Headland Press and recently released an English translation of Motta's Astral Attack and Defense. Why did you choose to translate that book in particular?
There were many reasons to do so. I think, number one, the first thing I thought about was the fact that this book was the last book that Motta wrote. In Portuguese, at least, it was the last book that he wrote and that he published, at least in Brazil, which was in 1986. I got a hold of the book in 1987, right around January of 1987. And this book had an enormous significance in Brazil for Brazilian aspirants and other people interested in the occult and in Thelema in general, because Motta basically took a lot of his knowledge and his excellent background in all the subjects they're discussed in the book, and he comprised them into a very accessible language. And at the time, I was a young college student, and I was able to read through so many times, and I had no problems understanding what he was talking about. So that, given the fact that, first of all, Motta puts a lot of his knowledge in here, comprises a lot of different subjects, and at the same time, the historical significance that this book has for Brazil was really one of the main reasons why I thought was important to bring it to the audiences in the United States.
Now, this is
and abroad, of course, in English in general.
Right, and this is the first English translation of this.
It's the first one that I know of. I mean, if there are other translations out there, I'm not aware of them. It took me 5 years to get this translation done.
Wow.
And the reasons being that it took so long is because, I kept on revising. I started working on it, and I felt like in order to have the book to have a more validity for the audience of this day and age, I needed to add something to it. Therefore, I was able to get the collaboration of Freda 939, Ray Eels, the overseer of the Holy Order of Rahokweet. And I thought that by adding Ray's commentaries and his recent research on some of the subjects that are written in the book, I thought that it would add a lot more value to audiences today, because in a way, not that the book is dated, but a lot of things that Motta talked about, I think if he were alive today, he would want to see them brought up to date as they are right now.
And what kind of response has there been to the book?
Great responses. I think one of the things that, given the sad circumstances of what happened to Motta in the United States and the lawsuits and the fact that he was taken away all of the rights that he had to work with with the OTO so-called and all the proceedings and the lawsuits and everything else. One of the things that I thought it was cool about this book is that Motta, it's not one of the books where he's talking about those things which towards the end of his life were really, really becoming a central part of his writing, like the fact that he was, extremely annoyed at everything that had been done to him with very good reasons to be. And this book is just very clear-cut. He just talks about the subject. He's not, basically mulling over some recent events that had just happened. It doesn't get caught up on that. It just goes into, it flows really nicely, and it's very anecdotal. And I think that's what grabs people's attention. Like, for example, we have been, myself and the lodge master of the Children of Zen Lodge, the New York Lodge for the Holy Order of Rahokweet, and some other members, other brothers from our lodge. We have been going around and doing workshops with the book, and we have gotten a really great response from lay audiences, sometimes pagan audiences, people interested in Wicca. We were surprised at how many people have been attracted to the title because of the title itself, not because Marcelo Motta was the one who wrote it. If we just limit ourselves to the audience of people that know Marcelo Motta and that know Thelema, I think we are not going to reach out to as many people as we would like to.
Right, so a broader audience allows you to kind of get these ideas and actually the techniques that Motta talks about in here to defend themselves.
Exactly. And I think when Motta put this book out, and this is one of the things that I say in my preface there, is that Motta was hoping to do something with a little more commercial value, and I'm putting commercial in quotation marks here, because in a way this was a book that he was hoping to reach out to lay audiences in Brazil, or at least people generally interested in the occult or in magic or in astral attack and defense. So I like it. I like this quality about the book, that it has this kind of inner, jargonish kind of element to it, but at the same time it has a broader audience in mind.
Now, this was published through Headland Press, and they've also come out with a previous book that you...
No, this was not published by Headland.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's not.
This was published by it's a Holy Order of Rahokweet publication.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Is Headland just handling the distribution of it?
No, they're doing some of the distribution, yes.
Okay.
Yes, Gregory von Seewald is one of our brothers, and he's helping out with, especially with European distribution, but we have various distributors. We have J.B. Holmes carries the title. We have been distributing ourselves. If you go into our website, www.hor.org, there's a link in there where you can order the books via PayPal. So we just kind of are going all over the place.
Oh, okay, great. Hor also published a number of years ago in kind of the same paperback format, Calling the Children of the Sun, that also has a number of translations by you.
Yes. That was a book that I also got a copy of the original from Brazil. I mean, a photocopy. There were very few of them available. Very few people have a copy of this book, because Calling the Children of the Sun, when Motta published it back in the day, this was before I was born, was like in, I believe, 64, right around the revolution, the military revolution. Motta apparently threw away a lot of the titles because he was afraid that, the military would